ब्रह्मानंदम परम सुखदम केवलम ज्ञानमूर्तिम द्वंद्वातीतं गगन सदृशम तत्वमस्यादिलक्ष्यम एकम नित्यम विमलमचलम सर्वधी साक्षिभूतम भावातीतं त्रिगुणरहितं सद्गुरुं तम नमामि. Om. Adorations to Sadguru, who is Brahman, the giver of supreme bliss, embodiment of pure consciousness, one without a second, vast as the ether, infinite, eternal, beyond the three gunas and their modifications, the supreme preceptor. Viveka-Chudamani, in verse number 31, the scripture is focused on qualifications of an aspirant. And four great qualifications are presented before you, reiterating it. First is Viveka. Viveka means allowing your intellect to shine, free of the domination of ego. Intellect is the basis of rationality, but reasoning faculty is limited in people. Reasoning doesn't show depth. So we differentiate between intellectual reasoning and intuitional revelation. Otherwise, anyone who has gained a lot of academic study, language, academic scholarship will be considered very suited to attaining liberation, but it is not really so. Too much intellectual development doesn't necessarily mean that you are moving towards enlightenment. Intellectuals people are also compared in the Upanishads like donkeys carrying a load of sandalwood. Fact is, find that wonderful fragrance is being carried by each donkey. But to the donkey, it is the weight that matters, not the quality. So when a mind receives knowledge intellectually, a lot of information, all that information sits in your mind like a big sandalwood. See, each information could, if you work upon it, could bring out fragrance. But mind has been too interested just to gather knowledge. Who said what? Shankaracharya said this. Said Vyasa said this. Krishna said that. And so many. And when you think of how many things you have put in your mind, you feel a sense of pride. See, how much have I know? It's called tons of theory. An ounce of practice is better than tons of theory. So Vivek means that the intellect develops an intuitive aspect, and that's the speciality of intellect. If you allow your mind to stay free of anger, hate, greed, allow your mind to be drawn to God with good feeling, your reasoning will become very keen, and it takes an intuitional twist. You do not work hard like resolving a problem. It suddenly enters your mind very quickly. So I will not detail too much. That's what Vivek is. If you have that Vivek Shakti, it guides you always. You are always faced with challenges. The challenges are Shreya and Preya. Shreya means that which is good for you. Preya, that which is comfortable for you. Dramatize early in the morning. You are an aspirant who practice your meditation, japa, etc. But one morning you are awake and your mind is dealing with two choices. Let me put on more blanket. And enjoy it. Or let me shake off this, do some pranayama exercises, brighten myself up and do japa and explore the mystery of the soul. If you have Viveka Shakti, then that Shakti will push you up, will choose that which is good, not that which is comfortable. It can be good as well as comfortable, but you always be good is important point. But when Vivek Shakti is lacking, then you choose Preya, things that are pleasant for you. The next quality is Vairagya. When Vivek Buddhi has shown that certain things should be handled in a particular way, Vivek Shakti has given you insight into what is wrong, what is right. Then Vairagya means what is wrong, you must turn away from that. And from a broader point of view, Vairagya means to understand the entire world process, the world that you are experiencing through your mind and senses, the world of time, space and causation. That world is not the reality, because the world is a blend of perceptions through your senses, through your mind, through your intellect, through your ego. And all this combination of perceptions is what people consider reality. That's what life consists of. But each experience is a form of illusion. Senses never bring to you what is real. They bring to you whatever they can grab. Put on blue glass on your eyes, everything becomes blue. Simply because you see them all blue, that doesn't mean they are blue. Similarly, through human eyes, certain things appear in a standard way. All human beings will see that way. But if eyes are altered, if nerves, optical nerves are changed, or think of having the eagle eyes, eyes of animals, birds, the world is not the same. So all that you are experiencing through your eyes is conditioned. You are not experiencing the reality. Now, on top of it, you are using mind to evaluate things the way a human being evaluates. That's different from the way animals and birds. Human beings have bigger dimension. Things are all going well, but if you hear the stock market has fallen, you start falling on your bed. Birds, animals, they are not concerned. As a human being, you have blend of experiences, senses, mind, your imaginations, your feeling, your ego is involved. Put that all together, that's what human being says, this is the real, this is what the world is. But it is nothing but layers of illusion. And when you sleep, you shake off all that layer of illusion. You get into bigger illusion, nothingness, ignorance, avidya. Vairagya is to go on understanding what is unreal. And therefore, you turn away in your inner insight. You develop the idea, you can gain nothing if you were to acquire a lot of things that are magical, illusory. So what should I acquire? The question arises, and you follow the guidance of Viveka. Acquire that which is light. Don't go after darkness. Lead me from darkness to light. Lead me from death to immortality. From unreal to real. And then Viveka, Vairagya, then the Shat Sampat, 6 qualities. Serenity, control of mind and senses, becoming detached from fruits of karmas. Fruits of karmas are in the world of time and space, and they are always transient. Performing karmas, actions for purity of heart. So you switch your attention from gaining a result than doing your duty well, which places your heart in a more relaxed state. Next quality comes titiksha, endurance. Endurance is the very spine of spiritual movement. If you are impatient and do not allow yourself to endure things that are not so liked by your ego, then nothing can be achieved. From very childhood, lesson one goes on learning how to endure. And the child learns the lesson. Every time wants to walk, falls. But the falling doesn't discourage a child. He walks again. There is a persistence and endurance. And in all people who have attained great success, endurance has been a great quality, a common denominator. That while enduring physical experiences of pleasure and pain, that's easy. But enduring praise and insult, endurance that relates to your mind, that one needs to learn more and more. So all that titiksha, then comes shraddha, faith, and samadhan, tranquility of mind. As these qualities grow, mind gains increasing placidity, calmness, tranquility, you realize mind is yours. And the world does not pressure you or compel you to be happy or not happy. You do that through your mind. And if mind is under your control, you are not dependent upon the world. If mind is under your control, then you are not dependent on the world. But if your mind is not under your control, then you are constantly dependent. Last of the four is mumukshutva, burning aspiration. Burning is only to give you an allegorical expression, intense, which I have explained before. It is not to be construed at the emotional level. It is something that is profound, deep down hunger for attaining liberation. Ordinary hunger will make you tense, but this hunger makes you joyous. It's the hunger of a swan that's on a tree, and it has already the vision of where he is going to fly, just waiting for a cloud to move away. Now, another most important aspect of sadhana, which acts like a magic key to open the door to all the qualities I have described, and that's bhakti, devotion. Moksha karana samagryam bhaktireva gariyasi swaswarupānusandhānam bhaktiritya vidhiyate. Among spiritual practices which are conducive to liberation, bhakti or devotion alone is supreme. And what is bhakti? The quest for one's real nature is designated as bhakti. The Sanskrit word is swarup anusandhan. Swarup means who am I? What is my essential nature? Because there is always a subtle experience of love without it you can't exist. But that experience of love is diffused, and you have to ask your mind, what do I really love? Answer is easy to understand. You love yourself. I am, that is the basis of your existence. If that is not there, nothing can be loved. And even when you turn to the world outside, you love objects, love relatives, all, as long as that relates to the I am in you. And so the Upanishad says it very clearly, Atmanastu kamaya sarvam priyam bhavati. For the sake of self, everything becomes dear. But when you develop the idea, This is not, I am not going to be benefited by it. You love an object, love any person, but when you come to a stage realizing that this is not going to benefit me, then no matter how long you have lived together, how much long you have been in good relation, it moves away. Because all things that you do it for the sake of self. It sounds like a selfish message. But selfishness is a negative counterpart of love for self. Your love for self becomes positive. You don't become selfish, because selfishness is restricting yourself. If you are a swan who can fly, why should you become a fish in a shell? So the word is Swarupa. What is your Swarupa? You are not the physical body. You are not mind. You are not ego. Your Swarupa, your essential nature is Satchidananda. Existence, knowledge, bliss, absolute. That's the project of Vedantic study, to understand that point. Another angle, I've given the illustration before again and again. Lord Rama asks Hanuman, how am I related to you? And Hanuman gives the answer that has great profound meaning. Deha buddhyatu dasoham. To the extent you view yourself as physical body, you are an instrument. Rather, you are a slave. God is the master. You are an instrument in His hand. That attitude has to develop. That's bhakti in the initial stage. That not my will, let it be His will. Jiva buddhya tvadanshaka. When you turn your attention to the soul within you, soul is a ray of God, like the sun's reflection in a jar. The reflected sun is essentially the sun. But as long as there is water, there will be a reflection. As long as there is a mental process, there will be jiva, individual soul. As long as you have physical body and are identified with it, you are instrument in divine hands. As long as you have mind, you are identified with it, you are a reflected divine self. Put it in a better way, you are a ray, God is the sun. But going deeper, when mind is enlightened, then realize you and God are one and the same. Atma buddhya tavaivaha. From the innermost point of view, I am yourself. Thou art that. I am that am I. So therefore, as bhakti advances, it is pointing to that state where you discover I am that. That's called Swarupa Anusandhan. In 32nd verse, Swatma Tattvanusandhanam Bhaktiritya Pare Yuga Jagu Ukta Sadhana Sampanna Tattva Jigyasuratmanah Upasided Gurum Pragyam Yasmad Bandha Vimokshanam. Others say that quest for Atma Tattva is devotion. Just a play of words. Quest for Atma Tattva implying the truth of the self. Swarupa. Swarupa means who am I? Atma Tattva means what is Atma. Follow anyone, you are being led to devotion. What is Atman? Atman, the self, is the reality behind all. That self is Satchidananda, existence, knowledge, bliss. So either you go after Satchidananda and look at the entire world as an expression of Satchidananda, that develops your devotion. Either look at the whole world as an expression of God. If it is too tiring, just look within yourself. Who am I? Both are two aspects of the same coin. An aspirant, having become equipped with the qualifications stated before, which I have explained, Vivek, Vairagya, Shat Sampat, sixfold qualities, Mumukshutva, aspiration for liberation. Having become equipped with these, now from practical point of view, you must realize degrees. If these qualities are developed in absolute perfection, then you are already enlightened. Between sadhana and siddhi, the difference is while you are practicing, you are trying to emulate perfection. When you are trying to emulate perfection, then you are a sadhaka. Then perfection is not being emulated by you, you are the perfect. When you are siddhi, you have attained it. See, at every level, that's the relationship between sadhana and siddhi. Sadhana, you are trying to present the ideal as if you have attained it, faking it. With good intention. In challenging situations, you are keeping your mind quiet. You are really not quiet. You are practicing shama. You are a sadhaka. It is a means. But when it becomes spontaneous, you have attained the goal. So all these sadhanas, Vivek, Vairagya, etc., they are perfected state being practiced. But once there is no effort involved in developing Viveka, Vairagya and other qualities, that means you are enlightened. So what is expected of you is to develop appreciation for these qualities. Develop faith that these qualities you are going to develop. They are innate in you. Develop an understanding nothing else really matters. Once all this becomes clear in your head, then you are qualified. Now your intellect will be keen to understand who am I, follow the philosophy. throughout your study of scriptures, you have to give more attention on those qualities. So when scripture describes, you have to develop these qualities and then go to a guru. Don't become confused. You simply try to highlight the qualities in your mind, become interested. It's only after you have gone to guru and satsanga that these qualities will start developing more and more. Having developed these qualities, following this verse, one should approach a wise guru. Don't go to a dull guru. With jigyasa, with an inquiring mind. You go to a guru with open mind. Don't go to a guru with already a preconceived notion. I already have studied the scriptures. I already had good experiences. Let me see what guru can do to me. So you have already so many concepts in your mind, and whatever guru says, your mind is simply trying to appreciate it or depreciate it. Your mind says, oh, he said wonderful things. Or, oh no, I knew that. There are better things I have heard. If that is so, you don't have the inquiring mind. The inquiring mind means your mind is completely sensitive. You shut out your ego's judgment and allow what is being taught to enter deep into your mind. I'll give you a parable. A farmer and a merchant, they were great friends. Both lived together in the village, but later one of the two went into a town, became a great successful merchant. The other one stayed a farmer. They were great friends. With the passage of time, they became elderly, and farmer one day heard the news that his friend is sick in a hospital in town, in the city. So he planned to see his friend. But due to the advancing age, he became hard of hearing. So he had to plan conversations with the friend. He planned within his mind, I will go there, and when I see my friend, whatever he says, I can't hear it. But I presume he will say, how are you? Then I will answer this. So he had planned a few question answers. He went to the friend, and then of course he asked the friend, how are you? Coming to the bed of the patient, asked, how are you, my friend? He said, I'm so miserable. But he had planned, he will naturally, having seen me for a long time, say, how happy am I? Or he will say, I'm well. So he had planned that way. He said, oh, how wonderful. How wonderful. The man was shocked. After a long time he sees his. I didn't realize, in his mind he started thinking. He didn't realize he was not a good friend at all. He has come to tell him how wonderful it is that he is miserable. Then his next question, who is treating you? The man had already been disturbed by the first. He says, Dr. Death. Death is treating me. He was annoyed. He said, oh, so wonderful. He has blessed feet. Wherever he goes, he achieves it. Few more talks like that. And the patient became so annoyed, he started shouting to throw him out. And he was thrown out, and he went on, what happened? He couldn't understand it. So this is an illustration of how, if you have already packed up your mind with answers and concepts, listening to the teachings will become obstructed. So Shravana or listening is the great first step of direct approach to Vedanta. So approach a wise guru with jignasa, with an inquiring mind, not a mind packed up with your own views. Now, the scripture gives qualifications of a guru. We have given qualifications of an aspirant. Now, qualifications of a guru. Shotriyo vrijano akamahato yo brahmavittamah brahmanyupatara shanto nirindhana ivanala ahetuk daya sindhu bandhuratma tam satam. These are all scriptural terminology. Shotriyo, spiritual preceptor, should be well versed. Scriptures are called Shrutis, the Upanishads. Whoever has well studied and understood them is called Shrotriya. He is well versed, he knows what the scripture says, and he is able to explain that to the aspirants. Avrijina, he should be free of malas, no more malos in the mind. His teaching is to enlighten an aspirant, not to poison his mind. He should not bring in selfish attitudes and views and present it to the aspirant. It should not be brainwashing. It should be heart washing. Akamahata. As long as ignorance dominates the intellect, everyone is like an injured soldier. Every desire that you have for objects of the world hits you. Even if you get it or not get it, both ways. It's called kama hata. But if you are enlightened, desires are like the sky deals with clouds. No matter how intense the clouds may be, the sky is not hurt by it. Not a trace occurs, develops in the sky. And the sky supports it. And the sky has no contradiction with the clouds. That sky-like maturity of knowledge, if that is there, mind of a sage is not looking for fulfillment of desires. And the world does not diminish the clarity of his understanding. Otherwise, when you are led by desire, then a merchant sees a client, and he knows client is very wealthy and is led by desire. He will become very wonderful personality, very courteous, etc. And if it didn't work, he will become exceedingly inimical. But that type of relationship doesn't exist between guru and disciple. And there is guru's qualification. Akama hata. All the desires of the world that hit every individual, they don't hit him. Giving the qualifications of the guru are meant to encourage the aspirant to find the goal, not to make the aspirant use a stethoscope for finding a guru. In other words, there is no way an aspirant can determine, oh, here is the guru who is Kshatriya, he is Brahmanishta. No way can you gain that. But one thing is striking, just like a flower blossoms and the bees go after it. The bees don't have all the understanding of the flower, but it's enough, the fragrance. But there again, different flowers have different bees. A saintly personality or a sage is like a blossom. Everybody is not attracted, everybody doesn't want spiritual, but people are drawn in a mysterious plan. When they are drawn, they are not trying to find all these qualities and verifying it in their record. But these qualities are mentioned that you should gain it more and more. Even if you don't find in a guru, try to think it is there. Because guru is a vehicle of God. And through guru you are just trying to reach out to God. A vehicle may be limited, but don't go after the limitations, go after what it symbolizes, what it conducts, what it channelizes. That's the idea behind it. Otherwise people remain confused. Did I go to a Kshatriya Brahman, or should I have gone to another guru who is a better one? And guru has a problem. Did I get the right type of aspirant? Having all the 4 qualifications. Both are impossible. There will be no teaching at all. So these are the qualifications. He is a Shrotriya, well versed in the scriptures. You can understand that point. When you have studied certain subject well and very advanced, then you can explain that even to a child. You know how to manipulate it. But if your study has been very intellectual, then you can't bend. So that flexibility makes you a guru. And every aspirant, as the aspirant advances, becomes a little guru. Because you are always sharing what you have with others. In every plane, anyone who has been cured by headache, the moment he hears a friend have headache, he says, look, this is the way I cured. You don't have to go through all the medical course. Anyone receiving your help doesn't want to see your record. Is Brahmavittama, excellent knower of Brahman, which means knowledge has to be real knowledge. We always speak of indirect knowledge and direct knowledge. As long as it's intellectual grasp, no matter how clear it is, it's indirect. Intuitional, you have stepped beyond your intellect, limited intellect. And there is a revelation of intuitional nature who is merged in Brahman. How will you know a person is merged in Brahman? That also is a matter of enlightenment, internal. The question merged in Brahman is spoken from a limited standpoint, because realizing Brahman, it doesn't mean you are merging anywhere. Even the simile that is given of a river merging into the ocean is a limited simile. A better simile is, suppose you are looking at a patch of blue. The sky is there and clouds have created a little circle of blue. The circle of blue changes according to the clouds. It can expand, it can contract, it can race. Consider that circle as the jiva, the individual soul. That individual soul is being told, one day you are going to merge in this sky. There is no merging. Once the clouds move away, there is nothing but the sky. No one raced around it. No one was separated from it. Your outward personality remains just the same. Can still be a patch of blue racing around with full knowledge, I am the sky. Because that's the reality. You can still be a wave rising and falling with the full knowledge, I am the ocean. You don't have to wait to be merged. What is going to be merged? When you wake up, your dream world merges in your consciousness. So the merge term has to be understood well. Another quality, calm. In other words, intellect is always clear. In ordinary teaching, a teacher wants to tell a disciple, mathematics or geography or whatever. He said 2 or 3 times and the student doesn't hear it or his ego becomes agitated, hot, not calm and cool. But think of the Yoga Vasishtha. Vasishtha tells so many things, and Rama suddenly comes up and asks. Vasishtha says, "Oh Rama, don't feel free. Never accept it until you understand it. And no matter how long it takes, go on asking." That's the type of communication between guru and disciple. This is a matter of understanding. It is not going to do favor to anybody. You have to understand it well. You don't have to say, "Oh, since you have talked a lot, I agree with what you say." Like fire that has consumed its fuel. Another qualification. When you look at a red hot iron, it's not making any noise, it's just there. But it's extremely hot, will burn you within moments. In the same way, one who is enlightened is like fire that has consumed its fuel. It's just fire. It's another way to understand. Ramakrishna gave a simile. Aspirants who are come to Guru, they are like puris and kachauris. Place the red hot, not red hot, but very hot oil. Guru is hot oil. The disciple comes, still it's just a little wheat roll, round, put into hot oil. The oil and the kachauri both start talking. It goes on and on until both become quiet. Then you know that it's done. Take the kachauri out. You are well cooked. Going to Guru is same process. All talking is important as long as you are, until you are cooked, until you become mature, then there is no more discussion. Until then, Guru is always favorable. It will never tire until he cooks you up. With a boundless reservoir of mercy that knows no reason. Ahayatuki kripa. Ahayatuki means something that is spontaneous, without reason. In this world, whenever someone does favor to someone, there is some reason. You can always find out what's the reason. It needs to be explored. But when the sun begins to shine in your room, you don't look around and ask, what's the reason? It doesn't require a reason. When the breeze brings fragrance, there is no reason behind it. The sages blossom, the fragrance of enlightenment is wafted all around, and in that process disciples become benefited. And the question, why did he benefit the disciple? And sometimes even those who have been close to a guru, like we have the story of Vyasa, Vyasa's own son. Vyasa told all the Vedanta to the son, and it's already made. Didn't perk up just. Then he said, that's all I know. You go to King Janaka and he will give you more instruction. Yoga Vashita opens that way. So he goes to Janaka. And there he goes through a different process. Until he hears from Janaka, oh, my father told me all that. The idea is simply because he was a father, that he could lovingly give it to the son. That's not the way wisdom is imparted. No matter how much love you have, it is not something like a heritage, or something that you give like a gift. It's not based upon personal liking or disliking. Only those who are qualified, they will receive. Our liking and disliking has their role. You should not create a dislikeful relationship with Guru, that you will not hear it. But that, to that extent only. And a friend of all people who seek to know about Brahman. He is a friend of all aspirants who have surrendered to him. That all these are great qualities that, again, a spiritual teacher has no limitation in his view. All souls have the same capacity. Siya Ram Mai Sab Jag Jani, the entire world is filled with Rama and Sita. He doesn't throw away one set of people and saying, you are not of my town, so get away from here. Also, in enlightened state, your body is everywhere in the world. All living beings are part of your personality. And just like you have equal vision towards your body from toes to the head. And for that you don't look for reason. Why should I give more favor to one hand, less to another? Reason. It's all spontaneous. You are very kind to your body from toes to the head. Similarly, compassion of a sage is for the entire universe. All beings, they are all expressions of the self. This is what now and then it trickles down in these religions, like Jesus says it is for the sins of all that he allows himself to be crucified. People interpret it in a very limited way. but it simply means that he and all the entire universe has become the same.